It is December 1st, 2022. On December 1st, 1947, Aleister Crowley died. Now, in Thelemic culture, we don't really say that he died. We say he celebrated his greater feast. Because quotes from the Book of the Law say, a feast for life and a greater feast for death. So when I post on Facebook that today is a feast day of Aleister Crowley, people naturally think I'm talking about his birthday. But indeed, his birthday, October 12th, is a feast day. But the greater feast is death. I'm going to read to you today the pamphlet that was distributed at his funeral. And don't worry, it's very short. It's called The Last Ritual. And I sort of fictionalized in my book, The Aleister Crowley Revolt of the Magicians, I fictionalized his funeral. It's the opening chapter. It's called Funerals and Fairy Tales. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to set up the funeral for you. The funeral had been the strangest any of us had ever attended. The tiny cemetery chapel was let only for an hour and stood almost empty. I counted only 15 mourners. We were joined by 3 members of the press, eager to squeeze one last drop of scandalous blood from the turnip of England's most notorious black magician. Unlike the life of our departed guest of honor, the brief ceremony was quiet and respectful. Lewis Wilkerson read Hymn to Pan, and my favorite of the old man's poems. Hymn to Pan, my favorite of the old man's poems. 3 others said a few words, and then that was that. Predictably, the next day's headlines couldn't have been more inaccurate or lurid. Aleister Crowley, worst man in the world, dies. Cremating, great beast desecrated by black mass. It seemed hardly a fitting goodbye to a genuine holy man, logos of the aeon, prophet of a new age. But then, perhaps it was perfect. The little booklet says this, and it's so short, I'm going to share it with you. The preamble, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law. It was 55 years ago today. This is for a new published edition of this thing. As per his last will and testament, Crowley was cremated, and his old friend, Dr. Lewis Wilkinson, pen name Lewis Marlowe, read the last ritual at Brighton Hall on December 5th, 1947. The Brighton Council afterwards delivered a protest in regard to the contents of the last ritual, saying, "We shall take all necessary steps to prevent such an incident from occurring again. I've been asked several times what happened to Aleister Crowley's ashes. And the best explanation I've found comes from an article by the late Hymenaeus Alpha, OTO, Newsletter 1, number 2. In short, Sasha Germer threw his ashes at the base of a tree at their Hampton, New Jersey front yard, dubbed the Aleister Crowley tree. Okay. But anyway, here is how the booklet started. Hymn to Pan. Now, I was going to read it out of the Theory and Practice, but Hymn to Pan. Thrill with lissome lust of light, O man, my man, come careening out of the night of Pan, Eopan, Eopan, Eopan. Come over the sea from Sicily and from Arcady, roaming as Bacchus with fauns and pards and nymphs and satyrs for thy guards. On a milk-white ass come over the sea, to me, come, with Apollo in bridal dress, shepherdess and pythoness. Come with Artemis silken shod, and wash thy white thigh, beautiful God, in the moon of the woods on the marble mount. The dimpled dawn of the amber font. Dip the purple of passionate prayer in the crimson shrine, the scarlet snare. The soul that startles in eyes of blue to watch thy wantonness weeping through the tangled grove, the gnarled bole of the living tree that is the spirit and soul and body and brain, come over the sea, Eopan, Eopan, devil or God, to me, my man, come with trumpets sounding shrill over the hill, come with drums low muttering from the spring, come with flute and come with pipe, am I not ripe? I who wait and writhe and wrestle with air that hath no boughs to nestle my body, weary of empty clasp, strong as a lion, sharp as an asp, come, oh come, I am numb with the lonely lust of devildom. Thrust the sword through the galling fetter, all devour, all begetter. Give me the sign of the open eye, and token secret of thorny thigh, and the word of madness and mystery, Eopan, 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 pan, I am a man. Do as thou wilt, as a great God can, O Pan, O Pan, O Pan, Eopan, pan. I am awake with the grip of the snake, the eagle slashes with beak and claw, the gods withdraw. The great beasts come, Eopan, I am born, to death on the horn of the unicorn. I am Pan, Eopan, Eopan, Pan, I am thy mate, I thy man, goat of thy flock. I am gold, I am God, flesh to thy bone, flower to thy rod, with hooves of steel I race on the rocks, through solstice stubborn to equinox. And I rave, and I rape, and I rip, and I rend everlasting world without end. Mannequin, maiden, maenad, man, in the might of Pan, Eopan, Eopan, pan, Eopan. Now, why would the little chapel be upset at the reading of that poem? The next thing to be read were little quotes from the Book of the Law. Every man and every woman is a star. Every number is infinite. There is no difference. This is the creation of the world, that the pain of division is as nothing, and the joy of dissolution all. Obey my prophet. Follow out the ordeals of my knowledge. Seek me only. The joys of my love will redeem me from all pain. This is so. I swear it by the vault of my body, by my sacred heart and tongue, by all I can give, by all I desire of ye all. The word of the law is Thelema, who calls us Thelemites, will do no wrong if he look but close into the word. For there are therein 3 grades, the hermit, and the lover, and the man of earth. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. The word of sin is restriction. Thou hast no right but to do thy will. Do that, and no other shall say nay. For pure will, unassuaged of purpose, delivered from the lust of result, is every way perfect. There are 4 gates to one palace. The floor of that palace is of silver and gold. Lapis lazuli and jasper are there, and all rare scents, jasmine and rose, and the emblems of death. Let him enter in turn or at once the 4 gates. Let him stand on the floor of the palace. Will he not sink? Aum. Oh, warrior, if thy servant sink. But there are means and means. Be goodly, therefore. This is also secret. My prophet shall reveal it to the wise. I give unimaginable joys on earth, certainty, not faith, while in life. Upon death, peace unutterable, rest, ecstasy, nor do I demand aught in sacrifice. My incense is of resinous woods and gums. There is no blood therein, because of my hair the trees of eternity. My color is black to the blind, but the blue and the gold are seen of the scene. Also I have a secret glory for them that love me. But to love me is better than all things. If under the night stars in the desert thou presently burnest mine incense before me, invoking me with a pure heart and the serpent flame therein, thou shalt come a little to lie in my bosom. For one kiss wilt thou then be willing to give all. But whoso gives one particle of dust shall lose all in that hour. Behold, the rituals of the old time are black. Let the evil ones be cast away. Let the good ones be purged by the prophet. Then shall this knowledge go aright. I am the flame that burns in every heart of man, and in the core of every star. I am life and the giver of life, yet therefore is the knowledge of me the knowledge of death. I am the magician and the exorcist. I am the axle in the wheel, and the cube in the circle. Remember all ye, that existence is pure joy, that all the sorrows are but as shadows. They pass and are done, but there is that which remains. Beauty, strength, leaping laughter, and delicious languor, force and fire are of us. Beware lest any force another, king against king. Love one another with burning hearts. On the low men trample in the fierce lust of your pride in the day of your wrath. A feast for the supreme ritual, and a feast for the equinox of the gods. A feast for fire, and a feast for water. A feast for life, and a greater feast for death. A feast every day in your hearts in the joy of my rapture. Aye, feast, rejoice, there is no dread hereafter. Dost thou fail? Art thou sorry? Is fear in thy heart? Where I am, these are not. Write, and find ecstasy in writing. Work, and be our bed in working. thrill with the joy of life and death. Ah, thy death shall be lovely. Whoso seeth it shall be glad. Thy death shall be the seal of the promise of our age-long love. Come, lift up thine heart and rejoice. We are one, we are none. There's help and hope in other spells. Wisdom says, be strong. Then canst thou bear more joy. Be not animal. Refine thy rapture. If thou drink, drink by the 98 rules of art. If thou love, exceed by delicacy. And if thou do aught joyous, let there be subtlety therein. But exceed, strive ever to more. And if thou art truly mine, and doubt it not, and if thou art ever joyous, death is the crown of all. Death. Death, thou shalt long for death. Death is forbidden, O man, unto thee. The length of thy longing shall be the strength of its glory. He that lives long and desires death much is ever the king among the kings. Fear not at all. Fear neither men, nor fates, nor gods, nor anything. Money fear not, nor laughter of the folk folly, not any other power in heaven or upon the earth or under the earth. But your holy place shall be untouched throughout the centuries, though with fire and sword it be burnt down and shattered. Yet an invisible house there standeth, and shall stand till the fall of the great equinox. Now this mystery of letters is done, and I want to go to the on to the holier place. Also for beauty's sake and love's. Despise all cowards, all fools despise, but the keen and the proud and the royal and the lofty, ye are brothers. As brothers, fight ye. There is no law beyond do what thou wilt. Love is the law, love under will. Then Lewis read the Colics of the Gnostic Mass. And I think I'll read it out of this book here. Of the office of the Colics, which are 11 in number. The sun. Lord visible and sensible, of whom this earth is but a frozen spark, turning about thee with annual and diurnal motion, source of light, source of life, let thy perpetual radiance hearten us to continual labor and enjoyment, so that, as we are constant partakers of thy bounty, we may in our particular orbit give out light and life, sustenance and joy to them that revolve about us without diminution of substance or effulgence, forever. Now, I don't know if the congregation at the funeral did the responsive reading after each of the colics, but in the Mass, the people say, so mote it be. The Lord, Lord secret and most holy, source of life, source of love, source of liberty, be thou ever constant and mighty within us. Force of energy, fire of motion, with diligence, let us ever labor with thee, that we may remain in thine abundant joy. So mote it be. The moon. Lady of night, that turning ever about us art now visible and now invisible in thy season, be thou favorable to hunters and lovers, and to all men that toil upon the earth, and to all mariners upon the sea. So mote it be. The Lady, giver and receiver of joy, gate of life and love, be thou ever ready, thou and thine handmaiden, in thine office of gladness. So mote it be. The Saints, Lord of life and joy, that art the might of man, that art the essence of every true God that is upon the surface of the earth, continuing knowledge from generation unto generation, thou adored of us upon heaths and in woods, on mountains and in caves, openly in the marketplaces and secretly in the chambers of our houses, in temples of gold and ivory and marble, as in these other temples of our bodies. We worthily commemorate them worthy that did of old adore thee, and manifest thy glory unto men. Lao Tzu and Siddhartha, and Krishna and Tahuti, Moshe, Dionysus, Muhammad, and Tomegatherion. With these also Hermes, Pan, Priapus, Osiris, Melchizedek, I won't touch that. Chem and Amun and Mentu, Heracles, Orpheus, and Odysseus, with Virgilus, Catullus, Martialis, Rabelais, Swinburne, and many an holy bard, Apollonius Tyaneus, Simon Magus, Manes, Pythagoras, Basilides, Valentinus, Bardesanes, and Hippolytus, that transmitted the light of the Gnosis to us, their successors and their heirs, with Merlin, Arthur, Camaret, Parsifal, and many another prophet, priest, and king, that bore the lance and cup and sword and disc against the heathen, and these also, Carolus Magnus and his paladins, and Willem of Schreien, Friedrich of Hohenstaufen, Roger Bacon, Jacobus Burgundus Molensis the martyr, Christian Rosenkreutz, Ulrich von Hutten, Paracelsus, Michael Mayer, Roderick Borgia, Pope Alexander VI, Jacob Bemy, Sir Francis Bacon, Lord Verulam, André, Robertus de Flectibus, Johannes D., Sir Edward Kelly, Thomas Vaughan, Elias Ashmole, Molinos, Adam Weishaupt, Wolfgang von Goethe, Ludovic Rex Bavaria, Richard Wagner, Alphonse Louis Constant, Friedrich Nietzsche, Hargrave Jennings, Karl Kellner, Furlong Deux, Sir Richard Payne Knight, Paul Gauguin, Sir Richard Francis Burton, Dr. Gerard Ancaus, Dr. Theodore Royce, and Sir Aleister Crowley. O sons of the lion and the snake, with all thy saints we worthily commemorate them worthy that were and are to come. May their essence be here present, potent, puissant, and paternal, to perfect this feast. So mote it be. The earth, mother of fertility, on whose breast lieth water, whose cheek is caressed by air, and in whose heart is the sun's fire. Womb of all life, recurring grace of seasons, answer favorably the prayer of labor, and to pastors and husbandmen be thou propitious. So mote it be. The principles, mysterious energy, triform, mysterious matter in fourfold, and sevenfold division, the interplay of which things weave the dance, the veil of life upon the face of spirit. Let there be harmony and beauty in your mystic loves, that in us may be health and wealth and strength and divine pleasure, according to the law of liberty. Let each pursue his will as a strong man that rejoiceth in his way, as the course of a star that blazeth forever among the joyous company of heaven. So mote it be. Birth. Be the hour auspicious and the gate of life open in peace and in well-being, so that she that beareth children may rejoice, and the babe catch life with both hands. So mote it be. Marriage. Upon all that this day unite, with love under will let fall success. May strength and skill unite to bring forth ecstasy, and beauty answer beauty. So mote it be. Death. And the congregation that has been seated throughout the previous Colics is now asked to stand and hold their head up. Death. Term of all that liveth, whose name is inscrutable, be favorable unto us in thine hour. So mote it be. And the last colic is the end. Unto them from whose eyes the veil of life hath fallen, may there be granted the accomplishment of their true wills, whether they will absorption into the infinite, or to be united with their chosen and preferred, or to be in contemplation, or to be at peace, or to achieve the labor and heroism of incarnation on this planet or another, or any star, or aught else. Unto them be granted the accomplishment of their wills, yea, the accomplishment of their wills. So mote it be. Okay, let's see how this ends. With the Gnostic anthem, also from the Mass. Thou who art I beyond all I am, who hast no nature and no name, who art when all but thou are gone. Thou center and secret of the sun, thou hidden spring of all things known and unknown, thou aloof, alone. Thou, the true fire within the reed, brooding and breeding source and seed of life, love, liberty, and light. Thou beyond speech and beyond sight. Thee I invoke, my faint fresh fire kindling is mine intense aspire. Thee I invoke, abiding one, the center and secret of the sun, and that most holy mystery of which the vehicle am I, appear most awful and most mild, as it is lawful in thy child. For of the Father and the Son, the Holy Spirit is the norm. Male, female, quintessential. One. Man being veiled in woman form, glory and worship in the highest, thou dove mankind that deifiest, being that race most royally run to spring sunshine through winter's storm. Glory and worship be to thee, sap of the world ash, wonder tree. Glory to thee from gilded tomb, glory to thee from waiting womb, glory to thee from earth unplowed, glory to thee from virgin vowed, glory to thee, true unity of the eternal Trinity. Glory to thee, thou sire and dam, and self of I am that I am. He closes with, love is the law, love under will. Alas, the master, so he sinks in death, but whoso knows the mystery of man sees life and death as curves of one same plane. And that was the funeral ceremony of Aleister Crowley. Who died on December 1st, 1947. So, that's it for today. I've gone on long enough. We will see you tomorrow. Until then, continue to be good to yourself, be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.